followed you since 2012. And I came across this guy, Chris Beast Mode Jones, who's, doing his cooking with a little spatula. I remember, man, that was the cheap protein powder you were getting. Really was motivating to see your passion for the game.
For natural bodybuilding, helping people sculpt their physiques, getting young men or whatever, older gentlemen, quote unquote, already, getting them looking good, getting them feeling confident to get out there and take on the world. Take on some chicks, whatever you want to do. You tend to feel more confident when you look good. When you reach, and when I say about looking good, a standard you're happy with, a standard you're satisfied with, because I have ranges, I don't stay super lean year round. Around the winter, holidays, I don't really track anything. I just enjoy life, but still get my workouts in. My physique is not as chiseled, it's not as hard, it's not as vascular, but I'm still fit. So I'm kind of like, I believe in staying within a range, because I believe when you put a stamp on what looks good, you have this, the steroid epidemic we got, the I'm on TRT epidemic we're dealing with today. Because they're trying to hold on to, when you're trying to hold on to a standard that's not really natural to you, or hold on to a standard that's taxing you mentally, right? It's gonna weigh you down. And that's why so many people need unnatural help, because they want to do unnatural things. So I'm passionate about natural bodybuilding, but I feel like the quote unquote fitness world is not passionate about it in return. At least I'm not feeling the love. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, so in bodybuilding, you're always critiquing your physique and how do I get better? How do I change this? But how do you balance that with just accepting your level and having that gratitude so you're not just toxic? Oh, I could always be better. I'm not good enough.
That's great. You got to celebrate your small wins. I don't think people are able to celebrate their small wins because and trust me, I've dealt with this. You can't even see what you have because you're comparing yourself to other people. You're thinking about what you don't have. You're thinking about what you don't have before you even think about what you do have. I feel, and I'm not blaming it on social media, but let's just be real here. The brain's like a computer. Back in the day when I was in school, I was able to get on my phone and get on the internet. Everybody, so I'm really in the moment. I'm only absorbing so much information. I'm only seeing so much with my eyes. I'm only hearing so many rumors. You understand? Celebrities, I gotta read a magazine. There's no magazines in school unless you want to sneak them in or use them at lunch, right? So we're not even thinking about celebrities until after school, right? In this day and age, kids are on their phone in lunch, in class, some of them even, and you have all this data you're absorbing, you're getting and everything's numbers. So you're comparing yourself to X, Y, and Z instead of just A through D. You're comparing yourself A through Z. You're thinking of A through Z realities you can be in. You're fantasizing about wanting to be an influencer, Again, I'm not blaming it on social media, but it has added an extra layer to our existence, and that affects the mind, like it or not.
I'm so torn with that discussion because I agree with you. It can be really toxic when you compare yourself to these unrealistic standards. You're getting people that are, the perfect lighting. They're taking photos with the pump. They're, potentially photoshopping, editing their photos. It's pretty wild out there. So in terms of seeing it as inspiration, you need to take it with a grain of salt because it doesn't reflect the real world and it can be doctored very, very easily. But I will say, if I didn't have, role models to look up to in the early days of social media, even yourself, Chris, I started watching you in 2012. I'm looking at this jack dude who's just spitting games, spitting facts, and just incredible physique that I aspired to have. If I didn't have people to look up to like yourself and others on the internet, there's no way I would have pushed myself. But it's seeing it as a source of inspiration, not getting salty, not trying to say, oh, they got a great physique, they must be on steroids. You look at what you've got with your genetics, what you can improve. You have your logbook of your training. You're improving that bench press. You're improving that squat. You're taking photos of yourself, and then you're comparing your own progress. Man, that's fuel. When I had both of those.
Bro, so many people aren't even doing that. They're not keeping notebooks like that. There's a lot of apps out though, But, some people aren't really tracking their progress like that. They're kind of counting it in their head. And again, rushing the growing process. You want the results now, and that's not how it works naturally. But unfortunately, when you have unnatural desires and there's a way to kind of reach them, a lot of them don't have I don't want to say inner strength, but they just don't have let's just say patience. They don't have the patience to wait. They want it now, and that can hurt you in the long run because some people don't think what comes with those decisions, So many people don't realize the big boy decisions they're making when they play with their hormones, And in some cases, it could be a lifelong decision, something you got to live with the rest of your life. It's not natural for your body to not produce its own test anymore. That's not natural. But since you took these unnatural things, because you had these unnatural goals, now you're in an unnatural predicament. In the 1800s, this was unheard of. Your ball's shrinking, but your muscles get bigger. That doesn't even make sense.
So true. Yeah.
And I ain't trying to get too deep, but if you peep the game, notice the medical symbol, 2 snakes on a pole. Like, this is low key, like potions. This is new age potions. That's all it is. It's new age potions. Instead of a rabbit's foot or whatever, there's different molecules, different combinations. The combinations are just different because everything's atoms. You break something down, everything has a molecular structure, and it's all numbers. These are new age potions. I have no judgment. No judgment. I just feel like if your goals are naturally achievable, then let's achieve them naturally. There's people taking steroids for natural looking results.
Yeah, that's a real shame when I see that. And it's just a lack of patience because, the drugs, they're going to make you get there quicker. But man, you can get to the same kind of stage if you just have that patience. Like no one's going to look at the top naturals that have been training for 15 years and say that they're small. They look awesome, man. When they've got that muscle mass, they've done a few, long periods of bulking, getting stronger, the patience and the progression, and they're going to look like gods, man. You look around in public at the average Australian, the average American, man, we're obese. You look like you got some muscle mass. You're going to stand out compared to the average Joe.
And again, the internet has, in a weird way, it's expanded the world, but it made it small. Some people don't even realize you're looking at a less than 5% person. You're looking at a less than 1% person, and you're comparing yourself to that. This person is literally like, as they say, as above, so below. Some of these people are literally light years ahead of you, literally. Some people, it would take you another lifetime to even get to where they're at. It's like the whole, you saw the whole Deion Sanders thing, there are people that hating on him. Look how he got there. The percentile he's in, some people are literally light years. They have different kind of paths, and genetics is no different. Genetics is no different. Some people it's not in their cards to be some 6'4", 300-pound mass monster. I believe it's great to just train your ass off and show what you did with what you got. I think that really says a lot. Like, this is what I got. You feel me? This is what I was given, and I gave you this 5'7" body you gave me. I should have been 7 foot with this energy. I could have been Shaq's height or taller. You gave me 5
Chris, I think if you were 7 foot, it'd be the world would not be ready for that, bro.
Man, 5'7". This is what you gave me, and I'm gonna give you I'm gonna show you every inch is. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with it.
I'm being quite intimidated on this call now. I didn't know what I was signing up for. So, Chris, people that see your physique and they aspire to get your level of muscle mass naturally, I think it's a great goal for us to all try and shoot for. What is the sacrifice and what does the lifestyle actually look like that people have to dedicate to?
This is funny because if you do this just by the numbers, right? Let's just take the emotions out of it. It works a lot like a religion. And religions, they have the equivalent of going to heaven. For us would be having the greatest physique without taking steroids, without having to, make certain sacrifices you're not happy with. To have the physique of your dreams, and looking back and knowing you didn't make decisions that you're not proud of. That would be the equivalent of having heaven on earth. See, you just take the numbers and code it, kind of like making an app. So it works a lot like a religion. Notice Jesus said you gotta hate sin. Well, if you want to be that crispy physique, you gotta hate cheat meals. You gotta hate not hitting your macros, right? Because in archery, sin means missing the mark. You're off the mark. So the closest to that bullseye I can get to, right? Because the perfection's not here. But the closest, some people are closer than others. Look cut the bullshit now, right? Perfection's not here, but some people are closer than others. You can measure it. If we get standards that we got to live by, that's a religion. And we can start making measurements and coding things. So you treat it like a religion. In Buddhists, they have monks. Same thing, all right? The Israelites had the Pharisees. You got to take those laws and follow them to a T. You feel me? And if you do that, you're going to get the results. You're going to get the rewards. Just like to say fruits of the spirits is patience. That's what we need. Patience. Notice if you don't have patience, you do unnatural things. But because the spirit, you now have a spirit of patience to keep you grounded.
And that comes back to the sustainability too, doesn't it, Chris? You just mentioned that before, that if you were to take the dark route, well, what happens when you stop going down that dark route? You're going to shrink, man. You're going to lose those gains. Same thing goes to a lifestyle that, yeah, man. Same thing goes for naturals too. You can go 5-6 days a week to the gym, perfect recovery, sleep, perfect nutrition. But man, eventually life going to get busier. You can get older, work going to get serious, you have family life.
Brother, I'm so glad you said that, because that's literally like some years back. I had a child. My original plan was no kids, right? So I'm going to tell you, a lot of things I have to adjust on the go. And one thing is fitting keeping that balance between not giving too much to the gym and not enough to your family. Because one thing bodybuilding teaches us, again, it works like a religion. Where you put your energy is where you're going to grow. Where you put your energy is where you're going to improve. So if all I work on in 10 years is my body, it's all I'm going to have. I'm living in a shack, car barely holding up. Because all I'm doing is working on my body. I'm just getting sponsors to keep me floating. You feel me? So you gotta start thinking like, that's why I say you gotta clear the stress. That's one thing I like about bodybuilding. It gets you disciplined and no key. Remember I told you, it works a lot like a religion. If you clear your mind when you really just focus on it, it really clears your head because you can't really be out late partying when you really got legs in the morning. When you really got some heavy ass legs in the morning, I've done it. Trust me, I've went out and done legs and I've stayed home. And let me tell you, the times I've stayed home were the best leg days. And so the bodybuilding discipline, just like the yoga, that's like they have their yoga masters, they have their poses, whatever their poses are. They have all their poses. We have our poses too. This is literally a lifestyle, not just some 12-week challenge. Like if you really see, natural bodybuilding is a discipline backed by the universal laws. Notice Socrates, he said it would be a shame to grow old and not see how beautiful and strong that body can get. He was putting you on some game. Because you notice they're telling us now, all of a sudden to build the brain matter, the gray matter in the brain and all that. Now think about it. Those philosophers, they had their own. There was Platoism, isms, people the game. Plato-isms. So many people have their own philosophies and they live through it. So working out, philosophizing, debating all day, just think how cold you're getting. Just working out, philosophizing, debating with people, reading, writing. So bodybuilding is no different. It's just that bodybuilding has been perverted over the years. It's gotten too much about who can get the biggest, who can get the hardest. We lost the art. The art that was.
I agree, man. And that's what's missing from the posts that you used to post in the early days of YouTube. It was about the lifestyle. It was about getting your meals in, getting your hard workout in, getting home, recovering, get your mind right as well. And it's these things, if you embody it, the gym is just a catalyst to do that, to make you speed up in life. And you use that. The whole point you use that is to make you a better son, a better, partner, a better dad as well. And for me, I find that if I'm slipping on my training, it shows up in other aspects of my life. I just don't have as much tenacity for pushing the comfort zone at work, doing things I don't want to do. A bit more of a little bitch when it comes to doing the hard stuff, the hard talks with people in your personal life. And it's a circle, man. It goes around full circle. If I just, go all into my relationships and don't focus on the gym, I miss something, and vice versa too.
Yeah. It helps keep you grounded. That's what discipline is. Aristotle said it himself, discipline is the key to freedom. And if you peep the game, look at it. He noticed he was tutoring Alexander the Great. So people overlook the teachers. People overlook the Master Roshis, the Master Splinters. You understand?
Shout out to Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, people overlook the teachers. The mind is building too, not just the muscles. There are people that put seeds that will last forever in your head. So we overlook how the mind is getting developed. Some of these teachers, Mike Tyson wouldn't be where he is without Cus D'Amato taking him in as a child. And if you studied Cus D'Amato, he had a system backed by the numbers, literally. He had the peekaboo system, numbers on the boxing bag. And if you really are into metaphysics, you're really into quantum physics, you can know that was not chance. To be at the perfect place at the perfect time, he had the perfect body type for that fighting style. Notice the fighters he was going against were taller than him. So that peekaboo style was perfect for his body type. Even down to his body, he was in his own. But what happened when Cus died? He lost discipline. When Cus died, he lost discipline. And
talk to me more about that discipline. Because we know that if we have elements of pleasure, man, it's good for a short period. You get that high, you're having sex, awesome for the moment.
Yeah.
You're eating junk food, feels great in the moment.
I've been there, trust
me. What is it about us, men, that we love the discipline, the hard work? It gives us more of a sustained high. It's that you have to earn it. Can you talk to me more about what you get from discipline?
But here's the thing. In order to get something out of it, it has to be attached to something. See, attachments are powerful. Even the Buddhists tell us about the attachments. That's why some people can't get off the steroids. They're attached to this image now. And they cannot hold on to that image without unnatural things. If they can hold on to the image without the unnatural things, they'll just get off. See, we're attached to things that are tangible, that are touchable, and, abstract. Image matters. But what were you saying again? I don't want to get way off topic. You were talking about discipline.
About the discipline, bro. Yeah, why do we love it?
It has to be attached to a goal that's bigger than you. That's the only way. Without that, you're just going off motivation. Without that, you're just strictly off motivation. And we know that motivation come and go. Go watch a CT Fletcher video. I'm pumped up.
Rich Piana 6-hour arms workout.
Right? Motivation comes and goes. And I appreciate it when it comes. Like a surfer waiting for a wave. But the wave come and go. So you gotta have a foundation. Notice a house needs a foundation. Everything's need a foundation. So your discipline has to be something bigger than you. For me, I know for a fact that I want to be different. And I don't want to use that word special because everybody feels like they're special, but unique. And let's just be 100% real. What is unique? We can do it by the numbers. If there's 1 million people in your town, in your city, 1 million, and only 10,000 of them make $100,000 a year, we know for a fact off those numbers, they're in different. Now, money's not everything. We can go height, weight, strength, right? Charisma, all these things. We can measure a person if we really want to. Some people are scared to see them numbers though. But the point I'm making is, I know for a fact, if I'm not incredible, I'm just a regular short dude. I want to stand high. I mean, I'm not tall, but I want to walk tall. If that makes any sense to you. I want to stand tall, and there's no way around it. I gotta, by the numbers, be different. I'm just a short, regular guy. I gotta be incredible charisma, knowledge, books, but whatever I do, gotta be one of the best at it so I won't get overlooked. I have no choice. My survival counts on that shit. You feel me? So that's bigger than me. And that gets me, you feel me? Now, if you just on some, I don't to look good for the girls. That's going to get you in. But once you get older and realize bills come, once you realize it's just pleasure costs money. And if it ain't benefiting, that's why it's a sin to yourself. Peep the game. It's a sin to yourself. So once you realize it's just draining you, you're going to stop giving a damn about that. And your motivation going to go with it. Your discipline going to go with it, because remember what you're attached to. That was you got to have an eternal, like a higher source, a higher power attached to your discipline.
Yeah, and that identity that you have is very entrenched. I can tell that you like being the hard worker in the room, you like being the disciplined guy, you like being the role model. And for the people listening, you don't have to be a role model to thousands of people on social media. You can be a role model to your friends, family, and just having that personal accountability keeps you going when you want to have that cheeky cheat meal at night. You know, it's tempting. You're there watching Netflix and you can make a decision in the moment. No one's watching, man. No one really cares about your situation. You have to artificially put in these guardrails in your life. Otherwise, man, you can go a long time without reaching your goals. You can go really far from your values. And that's a shame. When you go to bed at night and, you deep down are disappointed in yourself, that's that stuff that's going to come out and you'll take it out on other people. I think that's a big reason why we get a lot of projection in real life as well as online. There's a lot of unhappy haters, man. You don't get a hater that's making more money than you or has more status than you.
People that are genuinely happy, bro, they're not even really thinking like that. They honestly, they want to bring people in. Like, they try to bring people in their world. Like, man, let me show you how it's over here, trying to put people down. That's just the way they try to get some kind of like a high. Because you keep in mind, we know with brain chemistry, you can get high from food. You can get high from sex addiction. You can get high from whatever. And you can get high off of your own goals and achieving them. So there's so many things that can get us high. And when you're vibrating very low, your energy's down, you're not in a good place mentally, you can get gratitude, you can get, what's that word? Gratification from putting others down and spreading pain to them. Because energy works both ways, like it or not. Like it or not, energy works both ways. Some people, they're gonna get a little hit of pleasure. I want to call it joy. Joy is a high frequency. A little hit of pleasure from putting somebody down.
And the people in your life that you want around you in business, personal, they're the ones that want to see you win, because there's so much abundance in the world. It's not a you win, I lose situation. We can rise together if we, have a mutual interest to see each other go up. And it's getting out of that victim mentality of, oh, I can't get this because this other person is winning. You can't look at life too long like that, man, because it's coming back to taking that personal responsibility. You're not building enough muscle or strength in the gym. You look at your program. You're the one that's doing the inputs. Maybe you're sleeping 6 hours a night. Your nutrition's bad. You're not managing your stress. You're not making enough money. Well, you look at yourself. No one's going to come and save you.
Where do you think that roots from? Where do you think that roots from? Because it seems like a lot of people aren't coming together, and then the people who are on the outskirts kind of pull people down. Where do you think that's rooted from?
It's hard in society, man. It seems like winner takes all, and the winners keep it close-knit, and understandably, there's not going to be as many handouts from the people that are really, really winning to the people that are lower status on the come up. But you gotta grind to make yourself the person that can get in those rooms.
Yeah, I heard that. There are several reasons for what I see it from side. I see it from every angle. I see it as a fan. I see it as an influencer. Because you can see influencers do it too. They have little back and forth, and some of them act like trolls. They just have big followings where you get to witness it. So. I just always wondered, where did that rooted from?
This episode is sponsored by Fitness FAQs. Get stronger, build muscle, and increase flexibility with our calisthenics workouts. Use the coupon code podcast10 at checkout to save 10% off when shopping at fitnessfaqs.com. Take advantage of this discount and enjoy the progress. A lot of other people get into bodybuilding because they're insecure about their body, or they want to get a girlfriend. This the standard stuff that comes out. And you can get the results, but there's still that insecure person that's stuck in there. And even these top influencers, a lot of them still haven't resolved those issues that they had growing up.
Dealt with that inner child. And also too, if I may be honest, there are some people that they just know for a fact, you know how I said motivation, try to have a higher source of motivation that will keep you going. Because every day's not gonna be beautiful. You know, every day's not gonna be convenient to train. So you need that higher source of motivation to pull you out, literally. You know, when there's nobody to pull you out, you gotta pull yourself out. You know, so same thing with the whole, what were you saying, baby?
It's just about, you know, looking at your reasons for training.
My reason for training, you know, it's just, you got to find your own reason. You know, again, everybody's different. Some people don't even start training till they have, you know, they get overweight, heart attack, right? Health scare. Everybody's different, you know, because that's the other thing I don't like about the whole bodybuilding industry. It's gotten too obsessed with the looks. Like, there's levels to this. You know, there's levels to this. Everybody's not meant to be, you know, you know, the guy, you know, flexing on Instagram, showing the abs. You know, some guy, he's just here to motivate people in his neighborhood, people in his family. Now, there's levels to this on a low level all the way to a high level. You know, I think you just got to find your reason for training. And if it graduates to something else later, that's cool too.
Why isn't maintaining your physique celebrated in fitness? Because you just said that you got to find your reason, your level. The narrative online is you always got to be building muscle, bigger, stronger, all the time, perpetually. But what about the people that are training for 5, 10 years and they just want to maintain? Why isn't that celebrated?
That's a good question. Because it's not sexy. Again, I'm not trying to, you know, piss anybody off, but again, it's like a religion. Peep the game. So many people have compromised this for $1. Promoting maintaining your body, it's not going to make me as much money as tell you I can get you lean in 30 days. You know, or I can get you on a bulk and a cut. You peep the game. Again, I'm not trying to piss nobody off. You know, but I keep it 100. You feel me? Gotta keep it 100.
My answer would have been the exact same to that question, Chris, because imagine you've got someone, just say you or me, on the surface, we're probably one of the most muscular people in the gym at any one time. And someone comes up to you, hey man, what's your goal? I'm maintaining. It just doesn't sound as like, yeah man, hardcore, I'm just striving for more. But we're at this level.
Man, I love it how you think, bro. I'm so glad you hit me up, bro. Because one thing about me, I don't do a lot of interviews because I don't like the beast in the cage. Let me just talk my shit. If you can edit it later, you know, you can edit it later. Because so many people don't like the raw. You know, people don't like the raw. You know, and that's just not me. I came out telling you already, I meant that. You know, I meant that. But I'm older now. My goals are a little bigger than me now. But that's what got me started, you know? So, and even though I'm changing, I'm elevating, I still keep it real with my people. Because if it wasn't for them, I swear I wouldn't have made this far, brother, because you gotta, to some degree, I don't want to say sell out, that's a strong word, but play the game if you want to get to the bag. Because we know for a fact, bodybuilding is it's always been called a poor man's sport for a reason. You understand? So when I came in the game, I didn't come trying to sell that drink. I told you about the Walmart protein and whatever, you know? Like, cause I see my people as my brothers and sisters. We trying to get whole ready and I break the brain to get there.
Yeah, because for me, Chris, it's such a shame to see people that say get to 5+ years of working out and then the gains slow down. They're not building as much muscle and strength. It becomes a journey of months or even years to set PBs on your main lifts, to see any change in your physique. And a lot of people go 2 routes. They either get dejected and they quit the gym. Oh, this natural stuff, I'm not going to make any more gains, forget about it. Or they take the dark path to keep leveling up. There's this middle ground in between, which I'm really trying to promote. And it's the maintaining and striving for progress, but not being so upset if it takes a long time to do that. Because we want people lifting 30, 40, 50, 60 years. We don't want that burnout. And the conversation of maintenance or main gaining, like the art of like trying to improve slowly. It needs to go out there more in fitness, but it's not sexy. You can't sell it.
You're damn right. Go out of business.
Save that for the hour podcast.
Put that shit in small print.
Here's my maintaining program for calisthenics. $4.99 discount.
But like you said about the progress, yes, at some point it will slow down, you know, and that's when you gotta, it's just, remember, we're made of atoms. Find those breakthroughs, break through those walls, break through those barriers. It could be a mental barrier you're not breaking. Some people can't even see themselves as a bigger person. See, you gotta feel it in your body. You feel me? Because your body's like a fire inside of you. You feel me? Like, because they tell you nutrient partitioning, which is what helps you absorb nutrients, that can be affected by being depressed and having your cortisol levels too high. Energy works both ways. So you gotta really be out here. I'm gonna get on my anime, get back on my baki. Cause that keeps the imagination firing. You know, I was able to break through some great barriers, you know, just believing and pushing myself, eating more food. And, but like the whole maintaining thing, that needs to be promoted. Wanna know why? Because the universe don't make no mistakes. If you were meant to be Shaq's height, Shaq's weight, you'll have those bone structures. You'll have that, right? You're like some people genetically. So once you feel like you've been training at least 10 years, I think 10 years is good for anybody. 10 is a magic number, I feel. You know, if you can make it 10 years of dedication by the numbers, not just 5 years bullshitting, then 5 years going hard. Like 10 straight years of you writing your shit down, you tracking, you're getting better, you're doing some bulks here and there. And then you know where you're at. If you're not really growing, it's cool to maintain because you can actually sharpen the body and you can get, like, I haven't gotten really bigger in 5 years, but when I cut down, I get more lines, I got more hardness, I got more maturity, and we won't talk enough about connective tissue and fascia. We have not even gotten into connective tissue, fascia, and how the body's, the whole isolating your muscles, that's just a way to sell a program or to explain the exercise. You can't really isolate a muscle. Like just with the curl alone, holding dumbbells to your sides, gravity's pulling down on the shoulder blades. And we know this for a fact because the bicep inserts at the core process. That's the shoulder blade. So if you're holding dumbbells in your hand and you're just relaxed, you're not conscious. Remember, consciousness, you're not conscious. You're just slacking, looking in the mirror, making sure you're right. You're not conscious, feeling the ground on your feet and all that type shit connected to your spine. You're getting your arms, but there could be shoulder impingement just from that alone. I haven't even gotten on the other shit. That alone, years of doing that, just not being conscious with your curl. That's why one of the curls is called concentration curl. Right? You gotta be conscious. Because yes, you're getting but there's tissue. Your body's a well-designed machine. There needs to be a little finesse. You know, sometimes you want to dunk the ball, but then sometimes you got to finger roll. Like you got to know when finesse is time, when it's time to finesse something and when it's time to push something because you're gonna get hurt. The little micro details is what we overlook. The little micro details.
I truly believe that having longevity is one of the key separating factors behind people that get their dream physique, build a tremendous amount of muscle, and those that fall off. You can't train hard if you got aches and pains. If your rotator cuff isn't functioning well, good luck trying to do overhead press, bench press, those key movements that build and slap on a ton of mass. And this isn't us just being soft, oh yeah, train easy, yeah, just fix your body. It's about the long game, and especially natural bodybuilding, lifting weights. It rewards people who are patient. Because you and I can go in, get a ton of caffeine, get amped up, slap each other on the back, have a good workout. Good luck trying to do that tomorrow, the next day, the next week. It's the trend lines upward of consistently pushing yourself close to failure and doing that for a decade plus.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, because I remember bodybuilding is low key like a religion if you look at it by the numbers, right? The most disciplined man's gonna win. And the most disciplined man with the genetics, he's chosen. He's going to be Mr. Olympia or whatever. the most disciplined man wins. This is how the game goes. You know, I love this game so much, you know. But again, I just feel like the game ain't loving natural bodybuilding. I like putting my energy where it's received well. My clients are showing me love. But I feel like YouTube ain't loving natural bodybuilding like it used to, you know. And I wish they did, because again, it works a lot like a religion. Your energy is gonna hit different when you, again, I'm trying to go too deep. But them balls matter. I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. As tough as it is, and you see the enhanced bodybuilders, especially on your Instagrams and stuff, just, of course, it's an eye-catching platform. People will see a mass monster, that's going to get attention compared to a natural physique. But I will play devil's advocate. The naturals have a relatable physique. People will look at yourself and think, he is very impressive, but it looks realistic for me to achieve. So I'm going to listen to this guy. Whereas where the really enhanced bodybuilders don't get as much relatability is people look at it as a freak show, and understandable. They're just night and day different to anyone else because of the enhancement, their internal hormone state, completely different. But man, there is hope for the natties. I'm waving the flag. I'm making my tutorials. I'm trying to spit game on these kids, and I hope it sinks.
I'm telling you, like I said, maintenance is not a bad thing, guys. Trust and believe. And honestly, you know, you can stay the same size, but appear harder and more chiseled year after year after year. Almost kind of like that main gaining philosophy, you know, to some degree, you know?
Few comments on social media, Chris, people saying, oh, Daniel, you look similar to you did a few years ago. I don't take that as a criticism. I almost take pride in that, because you know how hard it is to maintain this level of muscle mass and the level of body fat. Yeah, man. Well, that's why you're not seeing everyone walk around like this. Proud of it.
Again, the social media got people thinking great physiques are mediocre now.
Check in with me another 5 years. I might add an extra 250 grams of muscle, but it counts, man. And what I will just say, the last thing on maintaining, it doesn't take as much work. You've built this physique naturally after 5-10 years. Those gains are relatively yours, man. You don't have to do as many sets. You don't have to put in as much work across the board, and you can hold on to this. That's the really uplifting thing.
And it's funny you say that, because people don't realize the body has layers of systems. The skeletal system, muscular system, central nervous system, right? All these systems. So, bro, it's an energy machine. So if you are getting to a point where you're happy with your physique, I'm talking when you're happy with your physique, right? You feel, remember, I want to be above average. I'm not here to be the best in the world. You feel like, so I've reached, well, you got to remember, if you're within your range, if you're within your goal, you're happy with your numbers, right? I'm telling you, your energy is going to be better because that work, because I'm telling you, sometimes the gym can be draining you. Especially if you're somebody who's gymming, you got like one job and a part-time job on the side. You got kids, you got other responsibilities. All these things are taking your energy. The job's taking your energy, the gym's taking your energy, everything's taking your energy. So if you get to a point where you're happy with your physique and you can maintain it with less days and you can get more time to build in other areas of your life, I'm telling you, you're going to have the physique and you're going to have a reality you're happy with versus just that physique. Because let me tell you, that's a low key. I don't want to put too much game out there, but that's low key why a lot of ex-bodybuilders be suffering the depression. I talk to a lot of them off camera. That's low key why a lot of bodybuilders struggle, because they gave up so much and got so little in return.
That is so good, man. You've absolutely nailed it there. Putting all your eggs in one basket is not a good strategy unless you're a pro NFL player, someone who's guaranteed, man, that sacrifice is worth it in that case. But people are treating the gym like it is their full-time job and that they're earning a full-time salary. And this isn't to say not to enjoy your hobby of training, take it seriously and stuff. But I agree, Chris, I've seen so many that are dedicated to working out where it has become a compulsion, an addiction, and they're using that to hide away from other areas of their life.
I'm telling you, like I've been in the game a minute, and let me tell you, I have conversations with people I would never share. And I'm gonna leave it at that. You know, there's a lot of unspoken things that bodybuilders go on behind the scenes they don't share. And that's why I tell you the number one sin is pride. Because sometimes you're suffering in silence and all it takes is just to share. Sometimes you're suffering in silence and all it takes is just to share. You might get laughed at. I ain't gonna hold you. You might get laughed at, but there's gonna be somebody who heard that come help. I've done it. You know, I've been there. You know, sometimes, fam, suffering in silence is you're adding more weight to that Atlas Stone picture, adding more weight on your head. Telling you, don't go out like that.
And for a lot of men, the gym becomes therapy. How has lifting weights helped with your mental health, Chris?
See, what mental health, how we talk about discipline. What mental health is, it takes away the excuses. I had an awakening in 2020, and the spirit of truth entered my body where you can't lie, right? Like the Liar movie. And long story short, I reached a level of mastery in bodybuilding where I can't make excuses anymore. Because let's say I don't want to do this. Well, you've shown you have the discipline because you prep for this show. You just don't care enough to do it. You know what I mean? It gets deep when you deal with the spirit of truth. So bodybuilding, bro, if you need mental help, you need to go get mental help. But what it does is it teaches you the step by step how to fix whatever you're going through, because inner work, faith without works is dead. So whatever you're dealing with is going to take some kind of inner work, and metaphysics work just like the laws of physics. If something's unstable, it's for a reason. There's some kind of foundational issue. Just like they say walking on water. If you're sinking, what's going to happen? You're going to need somebody to pull you out. So stay stable. So many people are not even keeping themselves stable. When you're building a house, just like when you're squatting your ground, you must be on stable ground. Building a house is no different. If the foundation is not stable, you don't have some core values, some your disciplines attached to a whole bunch of things that are shaky, like I want to teach it from others. You got to have your discipline attached to things that are here, like that matter. Like I want to be above average. It's going to give me better odds out here. It's going to give me better odds when I'm above average. Life is hard. Don't make it harder by slacking. The discipline of bodybuilding is going to teach you how to get through life. Anything you're going through, you can apply to bodybuilding. Like I had a homegirl a while back. She just got a job, right? She's a single mother. But she needs somebody to watch her kids so she can go get paid. She can't afford to pay nobody. So she needs somebody to watch her kids for free for 2 weeks so she can get enough money, right? She needs a spot. You see how the game goes? Just like in the gym. When you're spotting somebody, it's not forever. Just enough so they can feel it. So they can feel the tension. And eventually the central nervous system is going to kick in and help them get it on their own. She just need a little spot. Somebody she can trust to watch her kids. While she go work. So she can get enough money and be out somebody's way so she won't be a burden on nobody. So she won't have to keep asking for a spot. She can have the strength, but she needs a little foundation, a little help. Her foundation ain't strong. See, bodybuilding teaches you how metaphysics work because bodybuilding is backed by physics. From the inside to the out. Thermodynamics. Taking in too many calories ain't going to do you no favors when you want to get lean. That's thermodynamics. That's physics.
Lift too much weight beyond your means, your body's going to break down. The tissue can't handle it.
It depends how much grace you got, how strong them tendons, how strong them bones, how bad your form really is. Are there any innocent bystanders watching you make a mockery of physics? Notice some of the biggest accidents be happening on camera. You're making a fool of physics. You put yourself at risk.
You can't deny the laws of nature right there.
You can't deny these natural laws, regardless of what you believe in, period.
Yeah. I like the parallels, Chris, that you drew with bodybuilding, the discipline, overcoming adversity, and how that ties into mental health. It's just, if you only ever lift weights, you're only ever in the gym. Think of that crusty 50-year-old dude that's just put all his eggs in the basket of physical training. He's got nothing else going on in his life. In that situation, you're not going to be able to regulate or understand your emotions unless you handle the mental health side of things, such as speaking to friends, and if you even need more help than that, speaking to a therapist. This stuff, man, you can't just fix everything with the gym.
And not at all. What the gym can do is give you some time into yourself and learn more about yourself. You learn more about your cravings. When you spend time in yourself, 20 days away from people, and you start yearning for things, now you know where your urges are, what kind of urges you're dealing with. Like, you still get something out of it. It's just not the end all be all. Some people got demons that only low key. Some people got demons only a therapist or God can help them with low key. Some people got issues that they need professional help from because they need some deprogramming. Some people got some serious, because let's just keep it real. I'm not trying to be funny or disrespectful, but let's just say hypothetically someone's raised by a person. Let's just keep it 100. Somebody who tried to go for bodybuilding, now they hate their life. Now they're raising somebody, let's say somebody who hates their life, and now they're stuck in a reality they don't want to be in, and they're taking out on their children. Okay? Because let me tell you, I used to work at a daycare. So I deal with all kinds of children. Okay? There's a difference between households. There's common denominators. Okay? There's numbers here. There's common denominators. Some parents don't want to be parents. Okay? Some parents are stuck with their kids. And some of these kids become adults that are in the gym, trying to treat it like therapy, you know? So again, so many people got deprogramming. They need some deprogramming. Some people got issues that only a therapist or God can help them with. They really need, because if not, it's going to come out. It's all energy. It's going to come out somewhere.
But the problem is, we hear this, Chris. We understand it. But in our own minds, we think, oh, but if I just get a 6-pack, I'll be happy. If I put another 10 pounds of muscle, I'll finally have the physique I want and I'll fix all my problems. But then some of us get to that goal and we think, oh, I have the 6-pack, but I still have that little demon on my shoulder here. What's that about? Do I just have to get even more shredded? Do I have to put on more muscle?
Yeah. Again, that's why I'm so into metaphysics, because low key is all numbers. You can really get down to the root of somebody's issues if they're honest enough to share. But the issue is, where can you find people you can just be freely honest with and not worry about them going behind your back, telling your business, exposing you?
Yeah, it's so hard. We've always got to put a mask on, whether we're at work, whether we're, just in our hobbies. It's so hard to decrease that filter and be more of who we want to be.
And just freely share with somebody you know can give you some good feedback. But again, the way this world is, the social media has to add an extra layer to our life. I've seen people expose their friends on social media. Tell a bunch, so it's probably so much, again, that we're not even talking about social media yet. I'm just talking about on a surface level. Social media has scrambled a lot of brains, has programmed a lot of brains.
I think it's something that's going to get even more difficult as time goes on and more people place themselves and their lives on social media to be judged beyond just your close circle. And it becomes hard because then is it what you want? Is it what you want your friends to think you like, or other people to think even far removed from you? And it's, trying to maintain your own identity, your own goals, your own beliefs amidst this chaos that we're in now seems like a superpower, Chris.
I'm telling you, I think the issue is, you talk about the chaos. The chaos is all energy. You get what you put into this world. Let me tell you this. So many people just don't ask themselves why. If you just say why, sometimes the answer comes to you, especially if you're by yourself, maybe in meditative state. Go outside, somewhere you can be alone, preferably in the sunlight. A lot of people talk about that invisible light, how it feeds our body. You be here, who talk about, look into the sun, get somebody in your eyes. I'm telling you, put y'all little kids.
First 90 minutes of the day, morning routine, optimize it.
Yeah, he put y'all a little bit. That sun is very intelligent. There's a lot of invisible light that really feeds our bodies in different ways. So sometimes you got some mental breakthroughs you need. You might need to go outside and just take an hour out in the sun. Get in a meditative state. Maybe do some stretching, stretch your body. Because the body, remember, there's fascia covering the whole body. Don't forget, we have neuroplasticity. Your brain and body's one. Sometimes you need to stretch your tight body, get out there in the sun, and bright ideas just start flowing out of nowhere.
I'm glad you said that about posture at large and stretching and stuff, because if you assume a really, hunched over position, you think this person is depressed, they're sad, etc. And if you're manifesting this yourself, you're probably going to embody those emotions. You stand up tall, you've been outside, you've done some stretching, you've done some exercise. It's very difficult for me to stand like this and be really sad. My body and then my emotions and how I feel are interconnected in that respect.
And it's funny, it's backed by yoga teachings. Because see how they believe in yoking the mind and body as one. So that's their discipline. You know what I mean? You repeat the game. There's a guy named Yogananda who actually came here in the U.S. and promoted yoga. This man named Yogananda in the early 1900s. But he had a brother named Bishnu Nash that was into natural bodybuilding. So I have his book, the PDF. He's showing they're doing all these crazy poses, sucking the stomach in with the vacuum, making it twirl in the middle, all kinds of crazy stuff. So you got to understand the connection with your body that takes. Who cares if you don't get bigger? It takes even longer to get that kind of connection with your body. So you're going to, and then the neuromuscular system, that's a layer on top of our muscles. So essentially our body's a hologram. The neuromuscular system is the brain and central nerve, the brain, spine, and central nervous system coming together as one. That's two different systems. That's the brain, the spine, and the muscles coming together as one. That's the neuromuscular system. So essentially, if you get a deeper connection with your body, that's going to bring more detail. That's why those calisthenics guys the serratus are so cut. The lower pecs are so scooped. Because the muscle ups, the joints are getting that rotation that we're so three-dimensional. In the bodybuilding world, you got to think beyond. The spine moves laterally, up and down. It bends back and forth. The bodybuilder can stick you in a three-dimensional way of thinking. You got to expand that.
Chris, I love the fact that you brought that up with the calisthenics and how that combines with lifting weights. We get too dogmatic in communities. Oh, I'm the bodybuilder. I'm the calisthenics person. I'm the yoga person. Man, in the real world, we want a bit of everything. We said this before about not being the person that just goes to the gym and that's all you do. That's a pretty sad existence. But if we think about just, I'm only going to lift to build aesthetics, okay? Eventually, after 10 years, your gain's going to slow down. And the diminishing returns and sacrifice required to get better, some people want to commit to that. The elite natural bodybuilders want to do that. But I think for the person listening to this, they want to have muscle mass for the longevity benefits. They want to have strength, lifting weights, being able to move their body, do 20 push-ups, do 20 dips, do 20 pull-ups. Like these things combined with having a level of body fat which you're proud of, like, man, it all comes together. It's not just one thing.
Yeah, man. See, I like how you brought that up. It's not just one thing. It's a multiple layers of things. I think what the issue is so many people, and this is no disrespect to nobody. Again, a lot of these emotions I've experienced. That's why I like talking about them. You know what I mean? Like, so many people, all they have going for them is the fact that they're making gains in the gym. Notice they say be fruitful and multiply. See, some people want to multiply first, then be fruitful. To be fruitful means you have produce. That means you have produce. And that means you're producing something. That means you're productive. And that means whatever system you're doing is working, which is why you have the fruits. That's why they say judge a man by his fruits. So you need a system that's working, then you do the multiplying. Get your body crispy, and why not take that addiction to progress, apply it to a small business? That way, maybe you can work out all day, every day, and watch your businesses do it well, right? Right? You can really live your dream. See, so many people, they want to live that dream, and they feel like bodybuilding is the way to get there. Jeff Bezos, let's just say hypothetically speaking, working out was always his dream. I think he just got into it later. He got all this money, he chilling. He like, I want somebody to bang me, not just because I'm rich. I want because there's a difference between a chick wanting you because you got some money versus she's attracted to you too. See, Jeff Bezos ain't no fool. He went up and then got in that gym. I'm telling you, it ain't the same.
Yeah. Bezos, even though he had the money, he didn't have girls looking at him with a glisten in the eye. It hits different, man. When they're looking at an absolute stallion of a man that's ripped, man, the desire's different.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same.
You combine the muscle and the money. That's the male ultimate combination.
Don't believe the lies. Don't believe the lies. It ain't the same. So I feel like this. You got to be honest with what your goals are. If your goals don't require roids, why take it? If your goal is to have a great physique and to live a life you're proud of, you don't need roids to get there unless your dream is to also be a top bodybuilder. But just know this, if that's not really your goal, you're playing with fire because you're in a timeline path you're not really built for.
No. And what's really scary is we can make many decisions in our life that we can undo. We can move to a location, different country, for a few years after school, live there, cool. It wasn't for me, I'll move back home. But there's other decisions. You get a girl pregnant, you can't undo that if, it's taken through and the child is born. Same thing with steroids, man. You do one injection, your body never the same.
And your mind ain't the same because you've experienced the high. You've experienced the high that you're never going to feel again unless you take that product again. Because, there's other things they get to notice. It has a longer shelf life on it too. They lace it with oil so it can last a week or half a week, right? So, I've met people who got off and they're like, man, it just can't. It's almost like how you lean your weight on something? That's what they lean their confidence on. They need that crutch. Like Moses had his staff to lean on, they lean on them roids.
But the fall off from that, Chris, I really do empathize with the enhanced people who decide to go off when that was their entire identity. That's got to be hard. Like those are the ones that will go from doing that to not even going in gyms. Because I imagine that being around other, people that are enhanced or people in their life that they've come to know as being the big person, like they're never going to show their physique.
I think, can I go, Cole? We got a little off topic. I think the issue, it really is, some people don't really plan their years. They just kind of go through the flow and just kind of hope for the best. Something good happens. And I believe to some degree, you can just go with the flow and things will happen if your heart's in the right place, depending on a lot of things. But I much rather work towards what I want. And if something miraculous happened on the way, even better. Because whatever reality I'm in, I know I worked for it. Right? That's just how I feel. I'm not going to tell nobody that great things can't happen to them, even though, because quantum physics tells us anything's possible. I'm not going to do that. If we're 1 in a billion, so be it. I'm not going to be that. I'm not speaking against any. Hey, if you believe, I'm telling you, I'd much rather work with a plan. Follow it to the T, and get what I know I've planned for. Because everything's backed by numbers anyway. And if something miraculous happened as I'm grinding, even better. That's why I did the YouTube. I was just trying to get clients. Just trying to get some clients. And notice I was already getting clients locally. Just walking in the gym. So getting on YouTube, this is back in the wild, wild west of YouTube. This is back when you could do the DMs and all that, So I'm getting way more clients than I ever thought I would get. I was low-key already happy. I didn't have this dream of being Mr. Olympia. It depends. See, things crush you. You depend on your dream. Some people's dream crushed them because they had a dream they wasn't built for, and it crushed them.
Chris, what I really notice about what you're saying is your goals and your values, you choose them yourself. And that's something that I really admire because people might not understand this, but being a public figure, you're getting opinions left, right, and center, tens of thousands. Chris, man, you'd be great as an enhanced bodybuilder, really raise your profile. Hey, Chris, have you thought about doing this business approach in fitness, scaling up this and that? You're like, man, I am going to choose how I'm going to do it. And that's something that we can all embody because we're going to be tempted by other people's values, other people's goals. Some people are choosing to do this with their career, this with their family life. Man, what do you want? You got to ask yourself.
When you would believe some of the offers I've been given, some of the things I could have been promoted to promote. Paid to promote, But I just love being able to go out and people want to take a picture with me. People thanking me. I get more thank yous than anything. Like, thank you for the videos from back in the day, blah, blah, blah. I like that. I don't want to say, you asshole, you sold me a dream. I genuinely like, I'm not here to kiss anybody's ass, but I like being liked, and you get good energy when you put good energy out. But you give somebody some factual information and they go through the storm of getting tempted left and right. And then at the end of the tunnel, they saw you was telling them the truth. Whether they took the advice or not, they still gonna respect you.
Yeah. Well, because it's aligned, Chris, because you're being authentically yourself in how you deliver the information and you're putting out that positive message and you're going to attract similar things. If you're out on the internet pulling people down all the time, talking trash in comments, everything you do is negative, which is a pet peeve of mine in the fitness industry, because I always try my best to give my own opinion, my own 2 cents. How can I help people? How can I educate, entertain, motivate with my own story, my own narrative, my own experience? It is so easy to look at content and just say, this is bad, this is trash, you don't know what you're talking about, you're weak, and then layer on information there. But you know how hard it is to craft your own complete package of, here is a problem in fitness. How do you combine calisthenics and weights? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to spit game on you, as opposed to this person doing it wrong. I really despise that in the fitness industry.
I'm telling you, because even before I met you, I wasn't into the calisthenics, but I always said on video, I said, try to keep some of those body weight movements in rotation, because there's a certain connection with your body you can't get from machines. And now that I'm older and been studying, I can explain that with numbers. I can explain that with facts. You feel me?
I'll give you an example, Chris, because you commented before this call that my shoulders are looking a little bit juicy. I appreciate the compliment. Been lifting some more weights the past few years, but if you go too far the extreme, there can be consequences. So I substituted lots of my calisthenics movements so instead of doing push-ups, I did bench press for a while. Great exercise, awesome. But after a while, I started getting like shoulder pain, left shoulder pain. I'm trying to troubleshoot this, and what happened was I started losing the scap control, because in a bench press, you're fixed the whole time, right? But in a push-up, you get to protract, retract. So my serratus anterior and stability of the shoulder started to get weaker. So these things, it's like, man, I'm in the game too. Because we're not immune to it. We've got to become well rounded.
Now you're starting to see the difference. And
now putting push-ups back in, and it feeds into the bench and just keeping yourself, in the game.
And now you can imagine why so many people now are dealing with those tendon issues. Not trying to bring Chris Bumstead into this, but it is what it is. The body, again, is connected as one. Everything's working. So although you're bench pressing, even though you have fascia wrapped around your whole body, you still need to be connected all consciously through it. Some people just literally focus on their chest when they should look at it. It's completely a full body engagement. Your feet are engaged, your hips, your back. Then we ain't talking about air pressure. Remember, the body is an air machine too. We don't talk about the serratus up here. We have the serratus superior. That thing heaves up. We have the serratus down here posterior, and then the anterior. It expands the rib cage. So think about it. If you're in good harmony, you make that weight flowing and pumping when you're really in tune. You gotta have finesse for that. The masters of the past, that's where the whole mind muscle connection thing came. That's a real thing. When you're really in tune, you feel me? When you're really in tune with your body, connected as one. But notice in the old school days, they were doing chins weight. They were still doing they were still keep doing dips, lunges. You gotta still connect with your body. Notice you see old videos of Arnold barefoot in the gym. There's so many nerves on the bottom of the feet for our sensories. It's just the sensory neurons, proprioception. There's so much of that comes from the feet, and that's connected with the fascia, plantar fascia. Everything's connected. That's how we get the vibration. People don't realize if we're atoms and we vibrate, where we get the vibrating string theory. We don't talk enough about fascia. It surprises me that we're still talking about calves can get bigger with limping partials and all this crap. We should be talking about fascia. Because notice Hani Rambod, FST7, F stands for fascia. But my thing is, and we overlooked that for years, even me, overlooked that for years. Because peep the game, posing.
How do you integrate the fascia concept into exercise that you've done for years? Is there any old school exercise that are in your rotation that give you these benefits to your fascia, tendons, and stuff like that?
I benefit more from allowing a little body English to kick in. Now I know what I know. Right. Versus trying to make everything so strict, because again, there's no such thing as really isolating a muscle. Everything really is working. And since the fascia holds everything together, and that's connected to you mentally, remember neuroplasticity, neurons, there's so many nerves in the fascia, so it's connected to us mentally. So yeah, you're trying to focus on your pecs, but remember, you can't breathe the same intensity with 3 plates on your back with 1 plate on your back. There's a different level of mental focus on the spine, right? Different level of respect for the weight. And we got to keep these things in mind. And same with bodybuilding. Some people, you can tear your joints up if you don't have a good mind-muscle connection. Because remember, bodybuilding is man-made. The gods made the physics. God made physics, laws of the land, all that. But we made bodybuilding. We wanted to sculpt the body and see how beautiful it can get. Back in the early 1900s, there wasn't even no bench press. We're making, and there's going to be little mistakes here and there. I've never really been a fan of the flat bench. I've said that on camera many times. Even Dorian Yates said that many times. He like the hammer strength. And me too. Arthur Jones, I won't get too deep, but Arthur Jones, he was cold. he made the Nautilus equipment.
It's choosing exercises that target the movement pattern you want to train, pressing, horizontal to vertical with your bench, that target the muscles that you want to, being the pecs. If you're not feeling it in those areas, you're feeling it a ton in your joints, and you're told you've got to do a flat barbell bench press, and you're not ticking those boxes, you have to think to yourself, am I a powerlifter that is competing in flat barbell bench? Yes or no? If I am a powerlifter, I do this exercise because that's what I compete in. If you're in bodybuilding or general fitness, man, what I love about it is there is no real rules. You can change your exercises, calisthenics, dumbbells, barbells, machines, cables. You can do, low reps, high reps, moderate reps. You can do supersets. It's endless, man. It's endless.
What matters, most importantly, is how you look and feel. So many people look great but feel terrible. Let me tell you, I've looked my best at times. Shoulders aching, knees tight, lower back stiff. So with the fascia stuff, now I'm more conscious of hitting my muscles from a variety of angles. I've always said that, but now I know that more than ever. Because hitting the muscles from a variety of angles. Because I've said that for years, but now I mean it more than ever. Because that's low-key where a lot of my stiffness came from. And not taking the shoulders meant to rotate. So if you're just doing a set of flies to the front and some presses, that's all you're doing. All those little tiny muscles around it supporting that shoulder, not getting that blood flow and stimulation and mental connection. Remember, the neuromuscular system needs stimulation too, not just the muscular system. The neuromuscular, so you got to take the brain through those different endpoints of the joints, because the muscles are where the movement comes from, but the joints bring the torque. So we got to make sure we take the joints through the ranges, the end ranges of the joints. That's why I'm not a fan of the whole promoting partial reps from the calves, because the Achilles tendon is one of the tendons that weaken as we get older as men. And that's huge for the body, the way it vibrates, the way your posture is going to be. And I can go on and on about feet strength, and arches, so promoting partial reps. Yes, do your partial reps, but don't forget to go all the way up and do some holds too. Take the joints through its end ranges. Do some tibs. The joints need to go through its end ranges. Same with the shoulders, all ranges, all angles.
And it's not as if you have to not do the exercise you want. Okay, you're going to do an overhead press. Instead of just doing dumbbells flared out like this, you can do an Arnold press where you get the rotation coming in and out. And there's so many other ways to integrate this in. You can do a face pull, which is essentially a row plus an external rotation. It doesn't have to be these exercises you see in the rehab world where it's just purely isolated and there's no load. That stuff's BS. Unless you're injured and you need low load and low intensity to build yourself up pain-free, if you're good, be proactive with your body, man. Don't look at it as, I have to do these exercises. Find ways to get variation so that you're more bulletproof. Because, man, stuff goes wrong. You're doing an exercise, you're tired, you fail. You got to be ready to handle, especially with the shoulders, different ranges.
Notice They call the shoulder girdle, what's the other name for it? They call it the pectoral girdle as well. It's two names, AKA the pectoral girdle. So the shoulder and chest is meant to work in harmony. So you kept that same calisthenics mindset, making your body tight. Remember, this is your rod. You get that rod nice and tight, brain and spine. Engage those shoulder blades and you work in harmony as one. You know, that's why some of the best pecs, they used to do wide grip, but they had a different mind-muscle connection. Remember that neuromuscular connection must be developed. That's how those yoga masters doing those crazy ass poses with ease. That's mental. That's just years of sharpening that movement. It's in their brain. Some people don't realize that's just all mind for them. It's not even hard for them anymore. Sitting up straight like a cobra, talking with their legs crossed. That's just years of doing that motion. And so their spine, all those muscles around it, the semispinalis muscles, longissimus, all those little muscles we don't focus on. We focus on lats in the gym and teres majors. They focus on the multifidus. Right?
Yeah, what about that supraspinatus, man? Let's talk about those, teres minor, teres major.
Those little muscles called rototors, tiny muscles that help hold the spine upright. We don't talk about that. And a lot of that can be engaged isometrically, mentally. And remember, isometrically help with joints and stabilizing muscles.
Yeah, the isometrics are missing so much, Chris. And you don't just have to hold just a static isometric, because if you're coming at this with a muscle building lens, you pause momentarily in the stretch position, that's an isometric. You lock out at the top, that's an isometric. Integrating these in has a lot of longevity too, because we know that when we first got into training, we're just bouncing stuff off. And sure, you're stronger because of the stretch reflex. You get that elastic recoil, boom, you can lift a ton of weight. But if you're coming at this through the lens of, I want to target my muscles, I don't want to beat up my joints too much, I want to lift when I'm 70 years old, being that old dude in the gym that's still hoisting heavy ass weights, you should employ tactics that make your body feel good.
Yes. And that's why we'll talk about maintaining again. Like that word of the day, because once you get a physique you're really proud of, these are the years you try to maintain. Because let me tell you, I'm 40, just turned 40 last month. You know, like you want to be 40, 50, 60, feeling good in your joints, right? You don't want no achy. So if I could really, I had this saying I wrote down the other day. I said, if you're trying to get bigger every year, when do you maintain what you built? When do you enjoy what you built? You know, when do you maintain what you built? When do you enjoy what you built? It's kind of like building money. Like, how do you maintain it? Like, why don't we think like that? Because sometimes you get to a point where you can stay above water. Notice, walk above water, where you can stay above water from sinking and stay there and never have to sink. That is a blessing. Having a great body, a great life, and you're able to maintain it, and you're able to hold on to it. That's why our cells die and come back. Our body regenerates to keep it here, to maintain it. That's why the cells regenerate, take care of themselves. Why do I not want to maintain? Who came up with this concept? I gotta constantly chase this ghost. I gotta chase this rat. Who came up with that?
It's human nature, bro. We are natural selection. We were put on this earth. One of the theories is to, be better than our ancestors, to procreate, pass on the generation. And we're out there fighting against other people. And having an element of gratitude and satisfaction with where you were, when we were hunter-gatherers, we're going to get killed, man, because we're there chilling by the fire when we're not doing what we should. We're not hunting animals, etc. But we're in the real world now. We've got so much technology and safety, etc., where now you need to reframe your mind. You've unlocked this godly physique. You've achieved something that if you told your younger self and showed a photo of what you look like now, I know if I showed a teenage version of me what I look like, I'd be like, no, that is insane, man. It's like Dragon Ball Z. That's what I was watching. That's what I was trying to do. So you need to look at it as having the gratitude. It's so difficult. You've got to consciously think of how happy you are for what you've got, having that satisfaction, still striving to improve a little bit, because you know why, Chris? Someday we're not going to keep progressing. That's called aging. This is a really, I was going to say a really important topic is that someday all of us have to deal with the reality that we're going to lose strength slowly and lose muscle as we get older. How do you come to terms with this fact?
You got to grow in other ways. Like we were just saying earlier, so many people, all they got going for them right now is my body's getting results. But they want to keep that high going, which is why steroids become so tempting. When the results slow up, you got to build in other ways. I'm telling you, I've learned so much these past few years. If I would have hopped in a time machine, 'cause I like debates and meet and talk to myself in 2018, I would cook myself, with ease. Right? Like, I like that. I like watching my old videos. Like, man, I could have did that a little better. I could have did the tutorial just a little better. I could have explained this a little better. But what they still listen to me if I'm not super ripped like that right now. Because what make that video look so good is I was chiseled. What they respect the knowledge? Or do I gotta look the part? Do I gotta look the same? Should I go on a diet? I talk to myself like that, So I like growing in other ways. You can grow financially. You can grow spiritually and mentally. Like, there's so many other ways to we're talking about being fruitful. There's other ways to be productive. That's where I was getting at before I got off topic. We're talking about being fruitful and multiply. Being productive and multiply. There's other ways to be productive. Not just, the gym just teaches us how it works. It teaches us how the discipline works. But you can take that same, I hate missing the mark mindset to anything you do. Notice, hate sin, missing the mark in archery. Remember, all universal principles. Take that same not missing the mark mindset if you're going to get into real estate, whatever you get into. But bodybuilding does just teach you how energy works. It teaches you how it works.
Chris Beast Mode Jones, church was absolutely in session today. I really appreciate you taking the time to spit game on myself and the audience. Where can people find out more about your work, brother?
Oh, yeah. Hit me up at Beast Mode Jones on YouTube and Beast Mode Jones on Instagram, And I appreciate everybody tapping in with us, And you like it raw, I'm your guy. You like it a little.
Got a little heated here at some points, but
yeah,
that's what we signed up for when we clicked on this video.
Real passionate. I can talk all day, guys. So we're good.
Sweet. Till next time, mate.